So I was talking to a friend just now about the idea that, you know, the definition of statute includes the idea of consenting, the governed being consenting. And, you know, I was saying, you know, can they prove to me in court that I have consented because I claim I haven't? And he was saying that, look, it doesn't work like that. You're a citizen of the country, you're an EU citizen, therefore you're subject to the laws. And, you know, they have a certain meaning that they put on the idea of consent, of the governed being having their consent. That doesn't mean you personally. It just means that there is consent from the British public or the European public. There is consent. You know, whenever they make up laws, you know, anyone can go and be part of the process. So therefore, that you know, you've given your consent, sort of broadly speaking, and that's what it means, right? And you know, and then you were observing that.
Okay, but before we go any further, man, like, what did that mean? You just spoke for 2 minutes there, and I don't know what it means. What does it mean? What does it mean in 10 seconds instead of 2 minutes? What's the sense of it?
Well, okay. The sense of what I'm saying is that if there was truth in the system, if the system was true, honest, just, yeah, then I would be able to go into a court and say, look, I don't think that these laws apply to me because I never consented, and then we'd have a discussion about that. But that's not how it works. Okay, certainly not at the moment. And what you were saying is the underlying message from this and so many other things, like just now, for example, I was on a kind of half public, half private place, and someone told me I couldn't film there, right? And so you were saying that there's a central message to this, which is, look, these are the rules. If you don't like it, go and live somewhere else. Yeah?
Well, isn't there? I mean, I suggested that to you because you'd raised this question. And the question to me is quite complex, and a lot of people talk about these fiddly-diddly, what somebody else said and what's been said on paper, usually, down through hundreds of years. And that stuff is all confusing and doesn't seem to win anybody their rights. So I'm a bit dubious about that way of talking about things. So I translated it into what I do know from experience.
Right. And you know, you were saying it's also, sorry, you were still saying it's if you don't like the rules here, then go back to where you came from, right? And then the question is, well, where did you come from? Where did the people who are telling you to go back where you came from come from?
We raise the web higher with Holy Spirit fire to drag souls from the mire of suffering, pain, and anger. Civilizations we made so soul may be saved. Evolution inspires, for love never tires of growing and showing the way to return to the stars. With strings and guitars we sing for the stars, with piano, bass, drums and chorus. We sing of old ways and perform of old days, of gods like Osiris and Horus. We built sacred houses for sunshine and starlight, alignments of earth, soul and heaven. We teach the earth people to recognize the evil of living life backwards. By showing the way, live by example, we lead as we follow the way. Like Hamlet's Pied Piper, mesmerizing the viper, snakes rise and dance, given half the chance, tamed by the harmony of spheres, wipes away all trace of life's fears. Musical spirals weft and weave cause all of our distrust to uproot and leave.
Like, I presume it's a
We
rhetorical
teach
question you're asking me.
humankind of soul love sublime. Teach the way. One can dance, one can pray, one can sing, one can play. Reach within one, find one's reflection.
Danny,
For
Yeah.
within,
that question you
is
asked,
pure light. Find
it's a
ways
rhetorical
not
question.
to
There's no
fight.
point in me answering it for you and then you considering it to be answered and me not getting to hear your side.
For evil has grown.
There's no point in that happening.
Yeah, okay, I got that. You know, and you know, so you know, if I was to, let's say, take my own personal experience, which is very different to yours,
But totally valid.
but valid, I
The only
guess.
thing you're really talking much about.
Right. Okay. So if I take my personal experience, well, where do I come from? It's a good question. You know, I was born in England. Does that mean anything? It means something to somebody. It means that seems that I have certain privileges. I mean, they're weird, those privileges in inverted commas, because, like, you know, I have the privilege to go different places because I've got a British passport. And some people who don't have a British passport can't go various places. But it's weird that I've got a privilege to do what surely I should be able to do anyway, which is just go where I want to.
Sweat and toil, dig for oil, poison soil, destroy pure water, cut down trees, make desert seas of sand. Understand, Armageddon is planned to leave the earth world dead and damned by the evil of the alien race. For gold rush fever drives machines, drinking oil, raping fields, killing plants and species too. The free folk now are very few. The beast does feast like thrush on yeast. Inside of bones, inside of homes, on mobile phones, on satellite links down drains it sinks. In guttural sounds, disturbing peace, in paranoid thoughts, in fear of police, or thieves, or drugs, or priests, or thugs, or pubs. A land of fears inside one's ears, fearful confusions. Believe in illusions, jump to conclusions. Depressed, uninspired, worn out from life, feeling too tired of living in strife. Mind wanders, see king, answers, see knife, edge or point, cutter, stab, twist, turn, rip, slash, burn. Destroy this pain but lose my life, look for hope in deep dark insight. When shadows grow and bulb lights blow and fears won't go and shapes and shadows faces show of demon eyes, otherworldly spies. Behind one's eyes, inside one's mind, drives one blind. Behind third eye, it makes one cry, it shows one how to die. In front of bus or crashing car, in puking fit, overdose of pills, not eating food will give you ills. Too scared to even go to sleep, for sounds of shadow forms that creep into one's room while all alone.
Oh, it's very
Silence
serious,
hangs
this.
up when one answers the phone. Trapped in darkness, day and night, stay at home, locked up in fright. I pray to gods of every sort, but demons always stop me short and push me all around the rooms, light bulbs busted, constant gloom. Curtains closed on spying eyes, demons dressed in human guise, in hobnail boots and suits and ties, and worst of all the spies are flies.
That bit was funny.
And then one day the saviour came, just a bloke, forget his name.
That was funny too.
His eyes were shining full of light, and shadows fled before his sight. His presence was beyond their fight, like sunshine at dawn ends the long darkest night. He called my name, he said, have no shame, these demons must fulfill their game. And then he spoke a prayer beneath his holy breath and breathed on me, be free from death. And all at once I felt at ease and fell down laughing on hands and knees. And then the stranger said, excuse me please, we are human trees. Keep root and ground, and hum the sound of universe, all love, all round. Above your head and in your heart, feel life's love and beauty start. And fears depart down branch to leaves, and feel them flutter in the breeze. And say goodbye to dark disease, and always remember, we are human trees. And then he smiled like bride's Christ
Go on,
child.
Zach.
He winked an eye.
So, in my own experience, I was born in this country. So if someone said to me, well, get back to where you came from, then I don't know what I'd think about that. I mean, would that be, you know, how far back would I look?
Okay,
Yeah.
so just keep it there for a minute without
Yeah.
going too much further down that track.
Yes.
This poem is a sort of a Freeman poem. It's relatively long. It's fucking difficult because it goes to both extremes of stuff. Long way into the past, all the way up to the modern day. It's a massive poem. But it's a Freeman poem because it starts talking about the culture that laid the original foundation of culture. It doesn't talk about races and bloodlines and who owned what. It just talks about a nature of a culture of people who went around building sacred things with nature. And then it cuts like in a dream into another side of things, which is like the modern world, where there are old people who are scared to go out because of what's on television. And these things are totally connected. It's an expanse of time, but it's thoroughly connected. And what we're studying with the law stuff is how are these two things connected? How did we go from being a culture of people who held law together to a community of people who don't live in unity, who live in hope of unity but don't ever get there? How did that happen is why we study law. It's part of the existential why do I exist? Why do I not fit in? That's how we all come to these questions. They come from inside of us and they're integral. They're guiding questions. So a culture of people